Hello. Hi, I'm Patricia. Welcome to my channel. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about healing using information from your past lives. So I'm going to talk to you today about some of the topics that you should maybe be aware of and really kind of pose some questions to you. Let's get started. So first thing I'm going to talk to you about is one of the ways that people know that they may have had a past life. And again, this is really stretches some people's belief system, but in my years of experience, I have found that this is the one and only plausible reason as to why. Why would someone feel like that? Why would they have a visceral sense of something or a phantom sensation? And their doctor tells them no, but they know it's there. Why would they feel drawn to certain things? And why would it resonate? Why do some things resonate more than modern life? So the first thing is feeling drawn to a particular time in history. Okay. Do you feel drawn to, for example, the Greek era, ancient Greece, the Greek Empire, which was relatively short-lived? You can until the earthquakes happen, and where did the people scatter to? And yet you can look at the uniforms, you can look at the way the women were dressed and their hair and the temples, the beautiful elegance of it all, beautiful alabaster white. These are memories of a time and place that really resonate and bring a sense of, just like beautiful, pure and clean and elegant, right? And yet, what side of history were you on? Your emotions are going to tell you some of this. Do you react to it? Do you feel pleased by it? Were you of a higher class? Were you of a lower class? Were you an enslaved person? All of these things may give you clues, and yet what I'm proposing is a deep immersion into it. Let's talk about another one, ancient Egypt. Absolutely fascinating for some people. Fascinating, and people want to know about it. They go to museums, but some people may have actually had past lives there. It gave so much to modern times, mathematics, architecture, astronomy, science, like embalming methods, chemistry, so many things. And yet there was a lot of stuff that maybe wasn't so friendly, like keeping slaves and human trafficking and trying to, literally turn people into zombies. What side of history were you on? Some people remember this vividly, all of the sarcophagus and all of the things that were buried, the treasures, right? And yet it was one of the most viable cultures here on Earth, very long term in terms of an Earth scale, and yet it still had its downfall. But nevertheless, many people are fascinated. They're still fascinated by the pantheon of deities like the god Ra and the god Osiris. And, there's like all kinds of people that they'll call on, right? Myths and legends and films have been born of this. And yet, what if you were really there? How would you know? What would you see? Well, I'm not here to suggest it to you. What I'm saying is that what do you feel drawn to? Another very common one is native or indigenous. Indigenous lives in what is actually called earth keeper cultures. Earth keeper cultures were cultures that established around the earth in various geographical areas. Ancient Peru, ancient India, ancient United States, ancient South America, ancient Australia. And yet they all had something in common. The earth keepers were earth keepers of knowledge, okay? Not really power, but knowledge is power. They were keeping the knowledge of three main things. They were keeping the knowledge of the body, parts of how the body worked, how to use nature to help the body function properly, knowledge of herbs, knowledge of poultices, teas, infusions, certain foods, how to heal, how to set a bone, etc., etc. What to hunt, when to hunt, knowledge of the seasons, how it pertains to our body, the rhythms of the seasons. These are all things that we know are still there. Our body reacts to it, and yet, in a way, we forgot. How would you like to bring back the really cool parts of past and ancient history and discard the harmful, wounding things of ancient history? The other thing that Earthkeeper cultures were very, I would say, like, really took it seriously, that this was a part of their keeping and protecting and guarding and, guiding others of their group and their tribe with the knowledge. And this was the spirit. And what they may consider spirit is actually what we consider other aspects of ourselves, our emotions, our mental, emotional body. When we're in grief, when we're elated about something, when we fall in love, when we lose our love, when we've had to go to war, when we regret something, or we know we've caused harm to someone and we wish to be forgiven or to forgive and atone. And all these aspects of what is called spirit to the Earthkeeper cultures is a part of the knowledge that they were keeping. Again, all of it's applicable to modern life. And yet, what are we doing with it? What parts do we really remember? We're starting to mash it together. What parts of us need to be in harmony with the universe, be in harmony with nature? Have you been a part of an Earthkeeper culture? The next thing, the afterlife, what lies beyond. Many, many cultures, including the Tibetan Book of the Dead, which sounds creepy, but it was actually a very informative book, giving some ideas and details. Now, whether or not you actually believe it, I'm here to tell you, you should experience. So I'm here to help put people into an immersion effect, a vivid recall, immersion, where you have the emotional content, the feel of it. That is how you learn. Okay, that is incorporating several ways of learning. It's not just being told. It's not doing something by rote, like writing on a chalkboard. It's like dipping you right in a safe way and having you glean what you need to glean and perhaps discard some wound or have a vast, deep understanding of something. The afterlife and what lies beyond. Earthkeeper cultures always had stories, even if those stories were legends, of there's something beyond. And yet in modern times, many people have forgotten how to tap into those sides of themselves. You can hear it sometimes when people have a near-death experience. Now, I'm not proposing that you have a near-death experience, but if you've had one, you may understand this, that there are parts of yourself that can actually still continue feeling and sensing and understanding in a much deeper way than you may even in your waking hours. Which leads me to dream themes. Okay, this is another aspect of the past because many people will process what they think are nightmares, and they're actually the theme that may need to be removed for the month, or that you're getting some help from your higher self to process this out. War, battle, sexual predation, nightmares. These are very prominent, particularly at certain times of the year. Other things that are more prominent, but maybe on a lesser scale, more individualistic, themes of destruction, of loss, of invasion, or something that's impending where you're sensing it, but you don't really see it all in vivid detail. Family, emotions around family, things like this. So we get into some of the themes and the interpretation of what are you experiencing when you work with the technique that I'm giving you. The last thing I'll talk about this is a really big one, our addictions. Okay, now I'm talking about your past life and processing your past life towards an addiction. And I'm talking specifically about substances, not I'm addicted to an abuser, although you can see that, or I'm addicted to being a workaholic. That's not really what we're talking about here. We're talking about alcoholism, drug abuse, drug dependency, being codependent, having it alter your consciousness, having it alter your intelligence, your dream time, having it alter your personality, and wanting to get off the wheel. This is a very powerful tool to help someone start doing that very rapidly. It worked for me, and it worked for many, many people. In fact, in one of my groups, someone who had an addiction to cigarette smoking, she had been trying different programs to quit smoking. On the second time when we met in the class, she had been dreaming all week of a forest fire. But the common theme between the cigarette smoke and the forest fire was smoke inhalation and dying of smoke inhalation. She was literally seeing what had done her in and what would do her in again in this life should she choose to continue. Well, while we processed it and worked with the technique, she actually, the next time we met in the group, had said that it was very easy for her to just give it up. And it was very natural feeling. It felt like a natural feeling from the inside out. She was done. She was done dying that way. And these are the kind of powerful things that can happen when you are working with your past life stuff, past lives, okay? It may sound hard and traumatic to talk about it because these are heavy topics. And yet look at how much collateral damage there is. There is a cost. It's not just buying, $50 worth of, crystal meth on the street. It's all the collateral damage. It's the damage to relationships, to public property, to services that are being overloaded and paid for by other people's taxes. So we're talking about ridding yourself of dying in the same manner. Alcoholism, poisons, because yes, we've sometimes unwittingly ingested poisons through makeup, through foods, through paints, all kinds of things. Toxic psychotropic substances, including tainted food, like in St. Elmo's fire. St. Elmo's fire was a mold on tainted bread, and it infected an entire town, probably more than once, but there's a really famous case. And people were going crazy. How much nutritional deprivation and tainted, spoiled food has actually caused craziness, okay? Or the lack of nutritional food. Psychedelics. A lot of people are picking up psychedelics thinking it is the best thing ever. But guess what? It messes with the neural structure. It will mess with the limbic system, and it's not necessary. There is a technique that uses a much higher part of you to process and not find it necessary to do things like ayahuasca mushrooms, magic mushrooms, peyote. You don't have to go on a vision quest to do this. I have a technique to help you, particularly if you are prone to addictions. And this is why it runs in families. When I did mine, and I'm not saying I did a substance, what I'm saying is when I did my regression, I saw a series of lives, not every life. I saw the life where this was significant, where I pretty much died in the gutter. And I swore right then and there, I was never ever going to do that again. Now, this is where it's been put people, and it doesn't matter what good, well-intentioned people are around. It has to come from the person and come from the inside out. Not only that, you are the generation that is setting the boundaries. You're doing the line in the sand where you're saying the buck stops here on the addictions. It may run in the family, it ends right here. Heavy sedatives. Many times when people have been in grief or they've lost a child, they go into such a state that they've been on heavy sedatives for years. Some of those have been laudanum, opium. They become zombies. And these are a part of the past where you're almost half alive and half dead anyway. Let's nip this If you are interested in a deep, deep tap into this, okay, to get vividly real about what it is, what can you do, what is it showing you? It is something that will be revealed to you. It is something that is helpful for you to not only heal the wound and get the scab off, but that hole. Many people are on addictions because of that hole that was caused by losing love in some way. They lost something. That's such a deep loss that you get to now modern times. People are going around in a state of frozen emotion until something triggers them. And then there's a whole cascading event that happens. Let's start to nip this so we cause the proper ripple effect. So please check out the links below. We will be doing this in a group as well. If this is of interest to you, please, where have you been? Who are you? Who have you been? Let's get going with this, because enough will come to you that it really helps you make that quantum leap forward. This is a part of quantum healing. If you've ever wondered what quantum healing is, it's like going, you know, it's a part of your superpower that you can tap into. If you have questions, I'm Patricia. Thanks, like, and subscribe, and I hope to see you there. Let me know. Bye.